Hey guys, it's your best five friends. I'm Kelsey. That's Rachel. Rachel, the great philosopher, Biggie Smalls, once asked, "What's beef?" And so I was wondering, is there really any such thing in combat sports as legitimate beef, Rachel? So I saw some footage of Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa, and they were basically best friends. They were riding one of those double bikes, on the beach, like laughing, eating ice cream, and I was like, "What?"
What Kelsey's referring to is that somebody caught on video that Costa and Adesanya ran into each other in Abu Dhabi.
People, let me tell you about my best friend.
And they kind of just exchanged some. They were talking about, like, Adesanya was like how skinny he was.
Because he calls him Skinny Boy.
And he was saying Costa looked kind of lean, right? Like Costa looked leaner or whatever. And they kind of laughed and moved. But it wasn't near the amount of runners on ya, which is a YouTube video that Costa put out where he, was kind of mocking. He was...
Are you mocking me?
How his fight with Israel was going to go. So, but like you see these guys in real life, and it turns out...
that they're best friends in the world.
Not best friends,
but they're best friends.
They're very amiable. And so, yeah, this kind of thing doesn't... How real are all these beefs? And here's what I find is that you have, like, fighters, right, who are just, like, antagonistic with each other. And then they bring in, like, more of that negativity and antagonism with the fans, right? So if I go to anybody's, like, Twitter account or YouTube channel or whatever, there's going to be a lot of replies or comments, right? Where, we didn't even intentionally once make a video that somebody that Khabib fans out there thought was just, they hated us, right? They were like, oh, look at these people. But it wasn't. Like, we were just talking about UFC. Like, it was just a general thing, but they were, like, right there to nail us and what we might have said. And... it was when Khabib couldn't make the fight, and Ferguson took the late replacement in Gaethje, right? And it got totally, clearly, I think the people didn't watch the video, but, like, that we were, like, saying that Khabib, like, whatever, but they were right there. So I find that these fighters, like, they have this, but it's fake. But is it fake with all the fans, too?
Oh, it ain't fake for the fans, y'all.
So, like, I feel like it brings in just a lot of negativity, especially when...
What do you mean?
The fighters' antagonism. So they put on this thing...
The fighters act promotes the fight. People, like, that's what... the stuff that happens in comments is like that. That's not particular to fight sports. You can go into any comments on anything online that has open comments and see the negativity that technology has created, right? Mm-hmm. People say stuff that they usually wouldn't say in your face. But in fight sports, this kind of stuff is what sells the fights. And I think the fighters know that, and that's why they do this type of activity.
Yeah, but, like, okay, so say you feel, like, really strongly about something, right? Like, you're a huge...
I'm for oxygen.
You're a huge fan of a fighter,
mm-hmm.
And then he has this, like, beef with his opponent. But
yeah.
It seems kind of like...
I love that.
Like, but then if you found out later...
that it wasn't, like, real?
That it wasn't real, like, at all. Like, they're sitting around, like... Wouldn't you feel differently? There's a movie that I watched. Oh, it's a terrible movie. You know what it is? It's the one we saw on our honeymoon. The baseball movie. Fever Pitch, yeah. But there's a scene in there...
Someone say it's terrible.
There's a scene in there where Jimmy Fallon is eating at a restaurant... And they look up and they see the Johnny Damon. They see the Red Sox players eating.
Okay, but yeah, exactly.
And they're just
it's exactly the same.
Enjoying like their evening. And he looks up there and he has been crushed by their loss. And he's like, it's like this. So what I'm saying is, you bring this over to two fighters, and all of a sudden, like
It's the same thing.
you look at like some of the fighters like Woodley and Colby Covington, which was said this was legit like beef, but like I don't know.
I think it probably.
What if I was really like just all in on Woodley, and I was like, man, that Covington, he's awful. Like he says these awful things, like all this stuff. So if I like see like Woodley, and then him and Covington are just like hanging out, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I just, like, 6 weeks was all, like, feeling very passionate. I don't know. It just makes me, like...
Yeah, but that, in both the movie and in real life, then you're growing up a little bit and seeing what it really is. Do you know what I mean? Like, most fight sports promotions you see, and that's even the premise of that scene in the movie, is the guy's like, oh, what am I doing? I'm taking this too seriously. This is a sport. It's entertainment. So is the UFC. So is boxing. Very rarely do the fighters actually hate each other. And everybody knows that. The biggest example I can remember, and it's usually when one of the fighters feels like the other one went too far, the biggest, most famous example is with Muhammad Ali, the things that he said about Joe Frazier. And Muhammad Ali was promoting the fight. He loved Joe Frazier. He was promoting the fight, but he said some things that Joe Frazier did not like and did not think that was part of the promotion, and never really forgave Muhammad Ali for.
It
you know,
like
before the fight, Muhammad Ali and Stan Reed said something like, "Oh, we're going to make $1 million in this," or whatever money they were making. And Joe Frazier didn't care about that. Joe Frazier was ready to knock Muhammad Ali out, right? He was pissed about that. So that's something so things can be real. There are situations where the heat is real. I got the impression from talking to both Colby Covington and Tyron Woodley that their beef was kind of real. They didn't like each other. Do you know what I mean? And very rarely do people that not like each other like they don't like each other for personal reasons and for what's blown into bigger reasons in the public sphere. I feel like they had legitimate beef. But for the most part, 90%, 9 out of 10 times you watch a fight and you see this promotional garbage, or you see this promotional stuff from people, it's to publicize a fight, and that works. That's why they do it.
I'm just wondering if we can, like, do better than that. I feel like that's a low-hanging fruit for
I wish we could, Rachel, but I'm guessing we can't.
And then you bring up, like, Ali and Frazier, and I'm like, yeah, that's the risk-free run by being okay with this. Frazier was hurt, like, to the core. This wasn't, and he didn't care about how much money. I think that he would have rather had the friendship of Ali
in the third
than
fight,
all the money.
In the third fight, he was willing to die. In the 15, he was willing. And he never forgave his trainer for stopping the fight in the last or near the last round. I don't remember. It was the 14th or 15th round. His trainer would not let him come out for the final round in a fight that Frazier felt like he was going to win, the Thrill in Manila. And Frazier never forgave the trainer for that. Do you know what I mean? That's the level of hatred he had for Muhammad Ali.
And I'm saying, rather than have a promotion for this fight that, like, got more people to watch, I think I'd rather have, like, the relationship between these two guys not be ruptured.
Yeah, so it's up to the fighters to know that most of it's whatever they call it. It's just like professional wrestling, you know?
I just think that there's some things you can say and do that it doesn't matter if the other person is pretending or acting or, like, whatever it is you want to call it. Like, yeah, I don't think that it's always okay. I think I'd rather see us move to a higher form of whatever. Like, I just, it's low-hanging fruit to me, and it doesn't appeal to me.
Right. And you are the vast minority of people. You know what I mean? Like, people like it. That's why they do it. It's why it sells fights.
I think Manny Pacquiao can sell a fight, and he's not going to run, like, his opponent's name through the mud.
Right, but I think that Floyd Mayweather can sell a fight more because he does, and he has proven that.
I don't think that it's worth it. I don't think that more is worth it.
Fine. For you, it's not, but it doesn't change the basic
Floyd has a large... has people that imitate his acting in their real life, and I think that
okay, well, that's a whole nother thing. You're getting into like is that Floyd's fault, responsibility even? I don't know. If you act like somebody you see on TV
We're all
and
responsible
for
our
entertainment,
actions.
something you watch for entertainment. And because some of the, I'll tell you what, Floyd Mayweather did not become the pound for pound pay-per-view king until he put on when he became Money Mayweather. That was like a professional wrestling style act. He did that for that.
I don't know. I loved Floyd when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, and I remember being
That's fine, Rachel,
sad
but
when
what
he
I'm
was
saying is
Money
what
May.
he did worked, and that's what works.
I'm saying that you can't actually say that. You would need a wider pool to pull from. Like, that's not accurate, like, what do you call it? Like,
Yes,
data
it is.
gathering. It's one person who did one thing, and you're saying
You're the one arguing
now
against what happens, and you
to
have no
everybody.
data. And I'm saying, here's data that actually suggests that this is what they're doing and why they're doing it. And you're saying
It's
that
one person,
you
though.
would prefer them to be a different way.
Because I think it's
which is fine,
better,
but that's not
has nothing to do with
how it
promoting
works.
the sport or the fights. I'm saying that this is just a better way
So
to
your
live.
single opinion is better than that actual people that have made millions and millions of dollars doing this for, 100 years?
Because that's only about money. Do you not see what I'm saying?
That's all I'm talking about. I'm telling you why they do it.
And I'm saying that it's
you're
better to make less money.
Which is your opinion, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's my very, very strong opinion.
Right.
It's better to make less money and be a better human being.
Right, but I mean, for you can make that decision for you, not for Floyd you still see why people would do the thing that made him more money. Like,
I'm saying I don't think there's enough data to show that it actually makes them more money.
you think it's just happenstance? People just
I think
stuff. And
I think
you
athletes,
think Floyd would have made just as much money not becoming Money Mayweather?
I think athletes make a lot of money, and some of them do the thing Floyd did, and some of them don't. I don't think we have enough data to be like, oh, you definitely have to have these pretend, like, you have to put on this character in order to be successful and make lots of money. It's the only way. Or it's the 90% way. I don't think there's data to show that.
I think there's definitely data to support, in general, certain things get you certain more attention and certain money, and certain that would give you more money. I think that's indisputable.
So we disagree.
Yeah, and you're wrong.
No.
Once again, you're wrong.
No, I'm not.
So thanks for appearing on the show again, Rachel. Thanks for coming on the show again. I'm Kelsey, and I'm right. That's Rachel. She's wrong. And this is The Rights and Wrongs.